now we are able to come to the second experimentation video for this, and I am standing near this second experiment, which is the quick return mechanism here. And this, why you would call it a quick return mechanism, right? Although in the theory classes I have told you, right? The basic idea behind calling this as a quick return mechanism is that because of the simple fact that in this case here, the forward stroke is rather taking a much longer time than the return stroke, which is the ideal stroke. That is why we call it a quick return mechanism here. And those of you who must have had your course in the basic manufacturing sciences here, right? You must have known that in the quick return mechanism, right, which we use in the shaper machines, right, means the majority of the this shaper machine, right, has got a quick return mechanism here, right. So in this mechanism here, you would see that you must have learned that the number of links in this case is a 6 here, right, and this is the slider here. So again, as we have done in the case of the slider crank mechanism, we need to make out that is, this is the crank here, right, to which this could be connected to a motor for the actuation here, right. And what you have to do here is that, suppose if I am giving a forward stroke in the positive direction here, right, I am monitoring the value of this slider here, right, and until and unless this forward stroke is fully completed up to this point, right. If I move further, this particular a crank here, right, then this becomes the backward stroke. So you must have noticed that in the backward stroke, the movement of this piston is rather fast here, right? The movement of this piston is fast here. If I ask you to determine the time ratio, the time ratio is basically the time taken by the quick return mechanisms to complete the forward stroke to the backward stroke, then it will always come out to be greater than unity here, right? So all you need to do here is that, right, this is the thing here which I am doing here. This experimental setup which has been fabricated into the lab here is not the standard one. This we have completed as a part of the DTech project here, and you can yourself watch here that the forward stroke is taking more time, whereas the return stroke is taking a less time, right? And because of this that this is known as a quick return mechanism here. So all you need to do here is that is we will be providing you the experimental observation here, right? If we move this into a forward stroke, right, give a rotation to the 10 degree to the this crank here, right, then what will be the movement of this piston here, right? Likewise, when we are completing a 360 degrees, that means a one complete cycle, then in what manner the piston is moving here, right? So in this case, right, with the dimensions and all these things provided to you here, right, what you have to do is that as done in the case of the first experimentation pertaining to the slider crank mechanism, you have to experimentally validate, means the experimental and the theoretical values, for the theoretical formulas which we have given about the displacement, because since in this experimentation we can measure only the displacement as far as this experimental setup is concerned, right? So all you have to do is that we cannot, because there is no sensor available to us, right, by which we can measure the velocity as well as the acceleration here, right? So all these things have to be that at least you can match the displacement of the piston, whether in the forward stroke or on the in the backward stroke, right? For rest of the thing, velocities and the acceleration, you have to whatever values you get, you just note down in the tabular form, right, which you have to give, right? So as far as the writing of the practical report is concerned, you just make out the schematic diagram of this thing, right, in the skeleton form. Specify the number of links depending upon the value of the crank radius and the other parameters which will be given to you. You just means the calculate the acceleration, displacement, velocity and the acceleration, right? And as done in the previous experimentation, you list the learning outcomes which you have undertaken or which you have observed from this experimentation and the possible sources of errors and the modification thereon. Thank you very much.
So as you can see, this is my crank, and again, like the slider crank mechanism explained in the previous experiment, it has angles marked over it. So starting from 0, it has a whole 360 degree angles with the interval of 10 degrees. So like 10, 10, 10, we are gonna take the readings for this. So what we will do, we will set our marker to a reference. The reference can be anything. Let us say this is my reference. So I will put a mark on it and it will be the same reference in the entire experiment. Now, this is my slider and the length of this slider is 95 centimeter. You can read it from 0 to 95. So in the beginning of this experiment, the half of 95 is 47.5. I will put the connecting rod in the minimum at the medium position, 47.5. So my rod is in the center, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start the experiment. As sir has explained, the front stroke is the forward stroke and it is the return stroke. So now, again, I will create one table. So for this table, there will be some value for the crank radius, and in one column I will write this is my crank angle theta and the value of slider displacement x, right? So these two we will record from the apparatus. After this, using the formula given in the lab manual, I will be calculating the angular velocity and angular acceleration, right, alpha or AC. So we will start with the 0, and this 0 is set currently because the connecting node is in the center position, 47.5. So we will rotate it clockwise by 30 degrees. So 10, 20 and 30. So this is the rotation. I have rotated it clockwise by 30 degrees. So in my table, okay, for my 0 position, it was the medium position of the connecting rows, that is 47.5. For 30 degree, what I will do is, as you can see, I have rotated the crank clockwise and the slider is moving backward. So from my mid position, all forward movement will be measured in the positive direction, and all reverse movement will be measured in the negative direction, right? So what I will do, this will be my 0 and my slider has moved by this amount in the negative direction, right? So what we will do, we will start from this 0 and this will be the direction of my slider in the whole experiment. So for 30 degree, this is 25.8. Now we will rotate it further by, just give me a minute, by 30 degrees, and again we will measure it. So this is for 60 degree, this is 13.1. Again Done. For 90 degrees it is 20.2. So as you can see now the slider has started moving in forward direction, right? So I will do it and I will measure this complete displacement for a complete cycle, which is this one. So starting from 0 I will take readings till 360 degree and I am doing it for radius equal to, what is the radius currently? Let's see what is the position of this joint. So as you can see, this time the radius is clearly mentioned on the crank itself. So this is my medium radius and this is 12.4, right? So what we'll do, like the previous experiment, I am opening it and we gonna start our experiment with the first most radius. This is 80 mm or 8 centimeter. So I will set my crank to 8 centimeter and again we will put the connecting load in the medium position, that is 47.5, my center position, and we will set it to some 0. We will mark this as 0 and we will take readings. Like for R equal to 8 centimeter, my 0 is 47.5. I will rotate it by 30 degree. Done, and I will read the slider, which is 50.2 this time. 50.2. Like this, for theta equal to 60 degree, my slider is 67.2. So like this, I will take the readings for a complete revolution of the crankshaft. This is my table number 1. Table number 1. R equal to 8 centimeter. Now I will be creating a table number 2. In table 2, I will change the value of the radius. This time R equal to my second radius, which is 12.4 mm or 12 centimeter. 12.4 centimeter. 124 mm, right? So I will open it. And I will fix my pointer here this time. Done. And again I will put my connecting rod to the center position, which is 47.5. So we will again take readings for theta, then x, and with these two readings we will calculate V and AC. Right? So theta 0, position equal to 47.5. Again start rotating it by 30 degree like this and take the reading from the slider, which is 33.5 something, right? So we will take the reading for a complete revolution, and after this we will create our third table, which will be for the maximum radius. This is my table 3. R equal to the maximum one, which is 162 mm, that means 16.2 centimeter, and again the same thing. We will start the value of theta with 0 and we will put the connecting rod in the center position, and for 0 it will be 47.5, and again for 30 degree we will rotate it by 30 degree in clockwise direction, and this is 24.2, and like this we will do it for all 360 degrees. So at the end of our measurements we have 3 tables, right? Like the previous experiment, for all 3 tables we are going to calculate the value of angular velocity and angular acceleration, right, using the formula given in your lab manual. So we will be doing it in the all 3 tables. Now once my tables are completed, like the previous experiment, in this quick return mechanism 2 I will be plotting 2 curves. One will be angular rotation of the crank theta versus angular velocity. So on the x-axis I will be marking my angles. This is 0, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and these will be the value of the velocity v, right? So once you calculate it, some values will be in the positive and some will be in the negative. So positive values I will plot here and negative values I will mark here. For say, let us say for 30 degree I have value V. For 60 I have this. For 90 I have this. For 120 I will be having something this. It will be interacting here. For 180 I will be having this. So for a particular radius, let us say r equal to 8 centimeter for my first table, I will be plotting a curve like this. It will be r equal to 8 centimeter. Now for second radius, r equal to 12.4 radius, my plot will be like this, 12.4. For third radius, the curve will be plotted like this, r equal to 16.2. So now I can see that for a different radius in a quick return mechanism, what will be the velocity parameter for the slider. Now, like the previous experiment again, second curve I will be plotting between theta versus AC, acceleration content. Again the same thing, on x-axis I will be plotting my values of the crank rotation, 360, 90, 120, till 360, and here the values will be AC. Upper values will be positive, lower values will be negative. So you will have curve something like this. For the first radius, r equal to 8 centimeter. For the second radius, r equal to 12.4, and for the third radius, r equal to 16.2. So we will be giving you the sample values that can be measured directly from the apparatus. Like we will be giving you the value of theta and x for all three radiuses. So we will be giving you basically three tables. For each table you have to calculate V and AC using the formula given in your manual. And once you have calculated these values, you have to plot these two curves. That will be the end of our experiment. Thank you.